Hey, everybody. I'm talking a little light right now because I have a new microphone and I didn't want to make you go deaf if your headset was set for normal, but I'm going to get a little louder as I talk normal. So please feel free to adjust. Hi, Linda. I assume that means that you can hear me okay. And it says I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys confirm you can see my screen? Yes, you came up, Linda. Awesome. Okay. And Chrissy is on with me. Nice, Linda. Good job. Yeah, it wouldn't let me do it. Hey, Steven. Okay. Yeah, I figured it would be relatively easy. It just doesn't let me do it on my side for you. I can change my name all day long, but that would get confusing. All right. Well, we actually have a ton of content to get through today. Yeah, just change Richard to Linda. Yep, there we go. So let's see. We'll wait and see if anybody else hops on. In the meantime, I'm going to just kind of go over a little bit. We did this last time. I'm going to talk about something slightly different. So first of all, this is Lead Generation Source, and I am Kim Christian, and my sister is Chrissy Eason. I don't know, whatever name she goes by now. And she's not chiming in yet. It takes a while for her to connect if she wants to say something. I could say a lot in that time. So anyway, she is on in the background, and she goes by whatever name she goes by. I think it's still Eason. So Lead Generation Source is just go by Chrissy, but what's your last name?
Well, it's technically Eason, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Lead Generation Source, we talked a little bit last week about how it kind of came about following my desire to help people. But in more recent months and even the last year or so, partly because of, I think, everybody that's on right now, plus some others, we were all in a group where we, purchased into a program that ended up being basically kind of a piece of junk. And while there may have been some benefits to it, it kind of opens up this discussion that my brother and I had about technical debt. And technical debt, the simplistic form, is basically when you are purchasing technology at an inferior level and it creates other debts. So human resource debts, time debt, et cetera, because you have an inferior product. And I see that a lot, right? So I see a lot of programs out there where they're charging money and making you go into actual debt to teach you maybe 60 to 80% of what you need to know. 80% is the better program, 60% not so much. And even some of them that are closer to the 20% of what you need to know. And so it's really difficult to succeed when they're holding back those secrets. And they'll tell you to do it the right way, and they've done it the wrong way. And they've done it a different way. And they're like, well, this is the way you should do it. And I've seen that so much. It's just kind of annoying. And so part of my goals is to test, I want to test different, especially focused on digital marketing. I want to test strategies that actually work and produce results. And I'll also share things that don't work because you don't want to do those either. Or maybe, there's going to be some experimenting. There's never going to be a map to success, right? There's no such thing. You just have to get out there and you have to do it and you have to fail so you can start marking off different ways. Right, Marjorie. Just need to buy one more product and then it'll work. Oh my gosh, I just went through a lineup that same way. Like the guy had a really good software program and it was like $15. And I was like, well, I know there's going to be upsells. And it's actually a really good software program. So I'm really happy that I purchased it and made the purchases that I did. But then it's like, well, now you need this. If you actually want to succeed, well, everybody else. And I'm like, after the fourth one, I'm like, okay, X out of it. I got so tired of it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. So I'm like, I'd rather just pay for one program that's actually going to work. But even then, I've purchased $2,500 programs that just are not effective. They just don't get you to the point you need to be. So my goal is to create content and, share strategies that are actually effective. Now, that's not going to say I don't walk that line. I walk the line. And you guys I'll talk about that a little bit in this today. So you kind of know a little about who I am and you know about Chrissy, so we won't go over that too much. But for those who are new to us, please, feel free to hop into the Lead Generation Source Facebook group and get to know us a little bit better. And of course, we've got more people to introduce later. Joanne, I was going to have her on, but she is out of town today. So we'll talk about her another day. And then I wanted to repeat this. I think most of you saw this last week, but patience is a virtue, but persistence to the point of success is a blessing. I grew up with that on my wall. And I think about that because my sister and I both are like, why are these people able to have success after like one or two things? That's what they looks like, right? And we are like struggling with it, but we'll eventually get there, but we have to keep going. And I'm like, you know what? These guys aren't doing it instant. There is no instant button, right? I mean, I talk about this a little bit every now and again, but everybody's like wants a push button solution, right? There's no such thing as an instant push button success, right? And even formal education. So, getting my PhD, they kind of sell you on this that, oh yeah, if you get a degree, you will get a nice paying job with nice benefits, with, the house you want, the car you want, the family you want, even though you can frequently start with the family beforehand. Apparently, they're all going to change once that degree comes. I'm going to tell you, for those who did not see on my feed, my degree did come in, and it did not come with an instant success check. It didn't come with anything. I didn't get a job offer. I didn't get a big check. I didn't get oh, hey, you know what? We put you on this list to get you into the next billion-dollar corporation or something. I got nothing with it except for a note from the Department of Education letting me know that my loans are coming due soon. That's the only thing I got, which is like the opposite of what you'd expect with a degree, right? This is so expected in our society now that the Department of Education started fining and shutting down educational systems that didn't guarantee students some sort of a job and then prove it. I don't know what our world is coming to, but we are starting to say, hey, all you have to do is do this. No effort on your part other than the part that we want you to have effort with. Now, I'm not saying formal education is not good. I am completely done with it though. But I am saying that there is no push button success. There's nothing, whether it's formal education, whether you're paying somebody $10,000 or more or whatever, there are no guarantees. We have to be persistent. We have to keep pushing through until we find that success. That's the only way. And everybody does that. There's nobody who just falls into success. They may claim that, but they're lying. All right. So before we jump into the core topic, let's talk a little bit about marketing versus advertising. So I think these tend to get blurred a little bit, but marketing and advertising are not actually the same thing, right? They're not. They're two different things because marketing, well, they frequently cross paths, but they serve different purposes. So advertising is when you place like an ad, you're like saying, hey, buy this, and you're putting it in front of them. So that's something that we might do in e-commerce or, well, with anything you're selling something and you say, hey, buy this now. This is on sale till Friday. That's an ad. What you get I get them on Wednesdays, I think. All the junk mail I get into my mailbox and I have to pull it all out. All of those are ads, right? Nothing in there is to build a relationship with me. Marketing, on the other hand, is when you create value and build a relationship through marketing methods. The most common way is through content marketing, which we'll, of course, jump into this more later, but you're generating valuable content to attract visitors, right? And this is where every single social media presence, every single search engine out there has started to say, and has been saying for a while, hey, you need to have quality content. That's what we want to show people is content, because they know that 80% of people are not looking to buy something. It's actually probably higher than that. So advertising, though, does have its place, and it works a lot better after you build a relationship with someone. And of course, more on this when we talk about retargeting towards the end of this series. And the series is mostly going to focus on marketing, and that's because we're going to create value and drive traffic with marketing strategies. We're not going to talk about the best ad to put in front of someone, because if we haven't built a relationship, you can have the greatest ad in the world, but they're probably not going to click on it if they don't know who you are and they have really no reason to purchase that. Now, again, that's not a solid across the board. Ads serve a purpose. You can do a lot with ads, but with many of us being in e-commerce, it's difficult to make a profit if all you're doing is running ads to get people to your products. So that's where content marketing comes in. It helps us build that relationship, and then other marketing methods as well. But content marketing is generally what it's going to be kind of lumped into, because you're creating that value. So I didn't really know what to call this. So I'm trying to stay away from the term alignment because it gives me bad thoughts of having to work on 150-page paper dissertation where we have to align our elements. And so that word kind of makes me get chills, but I keep using it and it's driving me insane. So I'm trying to think of other words. I'm like, well, we're matching it. That's what we're doing, but we really are still aligning it. And so similar to alignment, the goal of marketing or even advertising is to match, right? So we want to match people's searches with the pages that are pages that are focused on those searches. And I'll give examples. And then we want to match that with where people are looking for it, right? So we're going to have the search phrase or the term. So what people are typing in to look for it. They're going to be the search engine source, and that's going to be where. And then your content should be matching that, right? And that's how people find your site. They find your marketing materials. They find your products. It doesn't matter what it is. That's how they find it. And that's where SEO, search engine optimization, comes into play, right? Because you're looking at right here at this search engine. That's a key factor. That's kind of like the portal, right? This is the door. If you want this door to open, this person needs to go to this door and you need to have the right stuff on the other side. So in order for that, they all have to match. So this brings us to the basics of search engine optimization. Now, many of us probably remember the days of early search engine optimization. And we frequently will joke about that in the SEO world and say, yeah, keyword stuffing like it's 1999. That was actually before my time of SEO. I did build websites, but back then it was literally you stuffed in a bunch of words and it made no sense to me. So I didn't do it. And somehow people still found my pages, but that was back because nobody was on the internet back then. But it was more like, how do we cheat and get our stuff in front of people who don't even know to look for it? And an example of that would be if somebody were to type in, blue shoes, and all of a sudden they're like, dog food is showing up instead. And that was because sites would literally just take every single possible word they would think of and put it on their page and hope that they would show up and people would click on it. And of course, search engines like Google got savvy to that and said, yeah, that's just stupid. Why would you even show up for blue shoes? And they started to stop, prioritizing those cheating ways of doing things. And then it kind of shifted back in, well, even now, a lot of people still think that the SEO is how do we rank on page one? But it really has changed more than that, right? It's more than just how do we rank on page one. I mean, yes, that could be something we want to do. But even more than that, it's literally now search engine optimization. Every single online platform. So this would be search engines like Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Social media platforms like Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter and YouTube. Anything with search capability and lots of data uses a type of search engine, right? So now think of that and look back at this term, SEO, search engine optimization. It's not Google optimization, even though we frequently just base it off of that, but it's search engine optimization. And all of the search engines, while their algorithms may be slightly different, run off of the same core rules. They want to provide the best content in response to the search from the searcher. So everything has to align in order for that to happen. And there are ways that we can influence that. We're going to talk about that. But because search engines are collecting information from a variety of sources, that helps them understand what's on a web page, right? So they can verify that information. So this is all going to lead into, and I wish I could have my notes on here so I can see what I talk about next. But this leads into, what Google has told us for ranking, right? So Google tells us what influences rankings. And since Google is the standard for search engine optimization, and that's because Google has 90.46%. I believe that was effective. That number is from 2019. So that's much higher than it was years ago. Years ago, I remember everybody going, oh, you need to get on Google. You need to get on Google for search engine optimization because they're dominating. And they were at like 60%. And that was only just a few years ago. Well, at least it felt like a few years ago. Could have been 10, who knows? But they quickly dominated the search engine market because that's, what their whole point was to do. So they have 90.46% of the search engine market share worldwide. So this basically means just about everybody searches with Google. And of course, this is also why most people build to Google requirements. That's where everyone is. If somebody's going to type in a search, they're most likely going to do so on Google. And this has also shifted. I don't know if you guys have bought a computer recently, but back in the day, so let's go with 10 years ago, you couldn't get Google pre-installed on your computers. It was all Microsoft products. So that's how they held on to their market, right? Well, then the people who were building the computers started going, well, people don't like your crappy Internet Explorer. That's what we called it, Explorer, that crashes all the time and steals their data. So we're not going to pre-install it with that and make it the default. It'll be on the computer because it's a Microsoft product, but we're going to go ahead and give them options. And so now you get Google, Firefox, and what do they have now? Whatever the Microsoft version is, which I still don't use. Edge. Yeah, that's the one. That's their newer one. That was supposed to be safer and people still hate it. So, sorry, Microsoft, get your act together. I still have your computers though. So Google has recently, and I'll say once again, they keep having to defend the way they display search results due to allegations from a former employee. Now, this comes up every few months. And while I agree with Google's comment on this, I disagree with the conclusion that you can't manipulate the searches. Oh, you can't manipulate Google, don't get cocky, right? They're being a little cocky there. Yes, there are people who do manipulate the searches, and we'll talk about that and how if you have enough money, you can. So Vox.com reported known factors that are just kind of like common elements that we know of. So Google uses a series of algorithms. So it's not just one algorithm, it's a series of algorithms that consider factors like your word choice. This is for when you're typing it in, by the way. They're talking about from the consumer side. Site traffic, so how much traffic that site actually gets. How user-friendly a site is. And expertise of sources, as well as your location, settings, and your own search history. And if you're going, wow, that sounds like a lot of stuff I've never heard of, you actually have. And we'll talk about most of those here in just a moment. But their conclusion was it is very difficult to directly influence search results. But since we know some of the factors that play a role, we can. And it's like, a lot of discussion comes around people who use search engine optimization or teach it or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, you're breaking Google's rules. Well, yeah, Google has basically said that if you do anything to influence the rankings, you're cheating, you're gaming their algorithm. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, if we don't have a set of rules to play by, how do we follow them? So just because somebody else writes the way that you prefer, they shouldn't get an A, even though another person is writing correctly and they fail. You're not going to put them on page 47 because they don't write the way you want. Well, then we need to tell them the way you want them to write. Oh, well, if you tell them, then you're cheating. Well, that's ridiculous. So again, there's this ongoing back and forth about whether SEO, search engine optimization, is actually, legit, or if you're breaking the law or whatever. The Google law, not the real law, which of course some people think that Google should be the law. I don't, though they can come put internet into my city if they want. So there are 3 core elements that, of course, these are primarily for Google, again, because since Google is the powerhouse. And an example of this is that there are plenty of people who still rank on Yahoo and Bing, just because sheer number of backlinks, and they're using like spammy sites. But when you're looking at less than 10% of the search population on those, I'm thinking it's not really worth it to go that route, right? You're going to spend a lot more money doing that than you are going to be to make your site look nice and be functional for people. And your conversions aren't going to improve because you have a bunch of spammy backlinks. You just may get in front of more people on those search engines, but it doesn't help anything. So we don't have an exact formula for any of these elements, but we know there are factors in each one that influence ranking. So for example, we know that each of these need to match. So your on-page optimization, and of course this is just kind of evened out, but we don't know percentage-wise which one's what. But on-page optimization, so that they're going to match the content on your site with information from external sources and backlinks. So they're going to match this with this, and what the customers used to search and select your site right here. So traffic. What kind of traffic are you generating? Are you generating traffic for dog treat and selling kids toys, right? I mean, I guess that could be a thing, but this is where you start to see where niches come in handy, because it's a lot easier to make these match when you have a niche site rather than a general site. So when you align all of these, that's when you go, okay, wait, now I have a better chance of ranking. You also have a better chance of getting your ads shown, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And many people still link search engine optimization to ranking on page 1, which we will talk about for those of you that are interested, because it is, the factors for SEO do influence what they call organic results. And organic just means non-paid results that show in the search. And there are some people that call this free traffic, which is kind of misleading because there's still a lot of work that goes into it. And yet the search engine optimization requirements, those factors also influence conversions, right? So people are less likely to take the next step if your page is not what they're looking for. So they're not going to buy the dog treat or the kids item if they're looking for something else, right? If they're looking for kids items and they somehow get to your site for dog treats, they're going to go, wait a second, I don't want this pair of kids shoes. Why am I even here? I was looking for dog treats, right? So making sure that we are presenting the page right is important, because that'll improve the chance of people buying something or taking the next step, like signing up. It also influences Facebook. And I've talked about this before, and there's a couple of people that I found that are finally talking about it. But back in like 2017 or 2016, I can't remember which one now, it's been a while, Facebook announced that for running ads and for showing content to people, they use microdata. And the microdata can include information from Open Graph or schema. So if they can't pull that information, which we've talked about this in the past when you're setting up your websites, if they can't pull that information from your website, they don't really know what it's about. So they're going to find other sources to help with that. Your other content, they're going to find your what people are engaging with on your page, right? So your page should be also niche because of that. And they're going to match. So they use that data to help match their audiences. So they've got I don't know how many, maybe 2 million, 2 billion, I don't know, monthly users, a lot. They can't match it with people if they don't know what it's about. So they'll have to use other data, or they'll guess. And if they guess, you're not going to get very many people engaging with your posts. So Facebook is also using the same factors to help show your content to people. They still block you. So don't think you can, if I SEO optimize, Facebook will show me stuff. They've pretty much got that down where they're going to make you pay for ads eventually. But social media in general, so it's not just Facebook, but all of the social media platforms are using the information on your site, on your account. So if it's, a Pinterest account, Pinterest has said, hey, we really want you to be in a specific niche. Now that's not as narrow now as what it used to be, because they've now done something called the smart feed. So your particular, and we'll talk more about Pinterest later, but there's a lot of things that you can still do to help make sure that your content gets shown to the right people. And all of these platforms, they decide if they're going to show it to someone and who they're going to show it to based on this information. So it's definitely wise to match up all of your content with what you are hoping people to find, right? So you want to make sure that what they're looking for, you're providing that. And then we also know this, and this is interesting, and I guess I kind of knew this, but didn't even link 2 and 2 together, but you absolutely will not rank. This is almost a guarantee you will not rank. And even if you do, it will not be for very long. If you don't have a fast loading website, this is one of those on-site optimizations, or I called it on-page optimization, but it's really on-site, where if you don't do this, Google has said, hey, if your site loads too slow, you're getting deprioritized, which means that somebody else may have not as good content, but just because their website loads fast, Google's going to prioritize them, right? Even Facebook, which I had my suspicions on this, but I didn't know it was true. But even Facebook has announced, they actually announced this in 2017. They announced that they're going to demote showing posts that link back to slow loading websites. Now, they've actually, demoted everything that links to anything. However, they specifically said, if you have a slow loading website, we're going to demote your content, because people get mad, right? People get mad when they go to your site and it takes them, they have to wait for 3 seconds before they see anything. We're impatient. That's just the way humans are now, even more so than ever. So none of these platforms, no search engine optimization platform wants to send people somewhere that doesn't meet their expectations, because then they get mad and go somewhere else. Well, I search for something and they're presenting me with information that doesn't meet my expectations. So, I joke about that. I'm like, it's funny that 90% of searches are on Google, because I kid you not, half of my searches that I type into Google bring back nothing relevant on the first 5 pages. And I'm like, even the ads are pointless. And I'm like, how this term is specific to a type of, strategy or an industry or something, and it's not bringing up anything from there. And I usually can't find anything. So I have to keep retyping words until I find something that meets what I'm looking for. And I'm like, that's so weird that they can even keep surviving on that. But, Google has had to respond before with people, when they stop searching on Google, they go somewhere else to find the information, right? So another thing that is absolutely critical is mobile-friendly websites. So Statistica.com reports half of all web traffic comes from mobile devices. And they actually reported that effective 2019, which I think is on the low side. I think Google reported 65% of all searches are on mobile devices. And it, like during the holidays or something, it jumps up to like an 80%. So essentially, if your website does not serve quality content to mobile devices, and that means that it's easy to look at on a mobile device, right? So what they call mobile friendly. And I've seen some sites, they'll load just fine, but they look like the regular page, like on a desktop, and you're going, I can't even see the font on this. And you're trying to like zoom in and you're like, and then you click on something and then you just get mad and you back out. So those obviously aren't going to be ranking very well. Even if they do serve content on mobile devices, it needs to be good looking. So Google, Facebook, all of these places, they don't want to give people your information if it's going to make their users mad. So you got to think about that too. If somebody were to get frustrated with something on your site, is it something that you can fix, or is it something that people aren't going to care about? Sorry if I tap the microphone there. All right, so here's another thing on page optimization. You need to have a focused topic. Each page on your website tells search engines information. If your page talks about horses, and this is a page, not the whole site. You have a page and you're talking about horses, and then you switch to talking about flower gardens in the same post, search engines get confused, right? You may show up for both, but you might be on page like 87 or 432, just depending on the competition. And it's very unlikely you'll make it on page 1, because they don't know what to put you on page 1 for. So they're going to put you somewhere else and test that. And I don't know the numbers, but it's something around, and I should have looked it up, I'm sorry guys. It's somewhere around like 90% of people or something don't go past page 1. It might be 80 something, but anyway, it's a pretty high number. So if you can't make it on page 1, it's going to be tough to get traffic from search engines. But you align your content by using phrases and words that represent your topic. And of course, you should avoid tangents, which I am absolutely horrible about, as you guys know, not just in writing, but in talking. My brother calls it, what did we call it last week? He was here just a minute ago. I could have asked him. I think he said it's squirrel syndrome. So, and that's what Joanne said. She has that too, right? So I do have that. And let's talk about this now. Yeah, Linda, me too. Yeah. But butterfly. We were driving back from swimming, and my brother was with me, and I'm like, and we were talking, and mid-sentence I stopped and go, oh, there's a butterfly. Hummingbird, yeah. Anyway, so on top of that, you also need enough content. And there are arguments about this all over the place, but there's been plenty of testing that shows that now more words help search engines understand the content better. So on average, in order to rank, and this of course depends on your competition, but in order to rank and to be identified as that topic, so whether you're ranking for Google or you're just making it so Facebook understands your content, around 1,200 to 1,500 words for an article. Sometimes you can get away with less, right? Sometimes you can get away with 500 and be okay. It just depends on how focused your article is. But generally, the average is about 1,200 to 1,500 words. And of course, we know this is flexible based on other factors. So it literally is just a general guide. All right, so then we've got off-page optimization. So the most common off-page optimization is through backlinks. So depending on your history with SEO, and I know some of you guys have heard me talk about it before, but besides backlinks, there's something called citations. So citations are more for local businesses, and they include like the address and the phone number. And those don't even necessarily have to have a link, and they still count as a backlink for local businesses. So, but there are places, citations are usually like directories and stuff that's more for local stuff. Now, backlinking, this, for some reason, I don't know why, I just really understand this concept quite well, but I know I talk to people all the time and they're like, I don't understand what backlinking is. And it's just when another site or another place is linking to your site, right? And so that's linking back. That's where they call it backlinking. And I know that term has changed over the years as well, but that's pretty consistent for like the last 6 or 7 years. They've called it that. And so it's a link. If somebody on Facebook, posts your content, that's a link back to your site, right? They put it on Pinterest, that's a link back to your site. They put it on their blog, it's a link back to your site. And so those backlinks are what helps you rank, and that helps with your off-page optimization because it helps clarify stuff. But that's also why it's really important that when you are backlinking, or when somebody is backlinking to your site, it's legitimate. And that's because, think about this. Remember I said let's go back to that for a second. Right here. So if your page says that you're talking about red roses, and these people are talking about, I don't know, how to bead a necklace. Oh, by the way, if you want red roses, go here. Now, even though they may have said red roses in the sentence, or they may not even talk about red roses, right? They could be talking about something completely different and just have a random link to your page. If it's a completely different topic, it confuses the search engines. So this is what happens is people will pay for these backlinks, and that makes them really low quality, and it doesn't help at all. So, and that they used to do comments and stuff, and that doesn't work anymore either. Yeah, Linda, that's more about Facebook related specifically. Linda said something about, I'm trying to sum it up, but it's basically when people share stuff, she says thanks and tags them. Yeah, so I guess it kind of is the same within the Facebook ecosystem, but I don't know how it affects anything within Facebook either to be that on that matter. But it's nice. It tags them and lets them know that you did that. Brings back traffic, so that's a method. So there are backlinks that you control, backlinks you don't control, and then backlinks you sort of control, right? So here's an example. We're going to talk a little bit more about these, but backlinks you can control are like your social media properties. So if you have a Facebook page, you control that, right? Other blog properties, sometimes these are called Web 2.0 properties, bookmarking sites, and then other business access high authority sites. And I didn't really know how to call it that, but Google My Business is one that doesn't really fit under social media, doesn't fit under blog properties, and doesn't fit under bookmarking. So that's one example of something that doesn't kind of fit under those, but it's still a high authority site. There's a couple of those that are like that. Then there are backlinks you absolutely do not control. So links from blog sites you don't own. I mean, yes, you can sometimes pay people to do that or whatever, but you have no control over those. Links from most of the authority sites in a niche. So niche authority sites. An example of this is Forbes. Typically, you can't control what Forbes is posting. In fact, I can't think of any situation where you can. Then there are backlinks you can sort of control with the right resources. Examples are press releases and Wikipedia, right? So both of these sources, press releases and Wikipedia, are highly valuable over time. So, and I'll show you guys more about why those are so critical if that's what you're trying to do, right? So traffic, remember we said that traffic is an element of search engine optimization. This is true for not just Google, even though Google is the standard, but other places too. If you're posting something on Facebook, as an example, and nobody's engaging with it, not getting traffic on Facebook, Facebook's not going to show it to more people. It's the same thing with Google. Google says, hey, you're not getting any traffic on your own, so I'm guessing people don't like it. And yes, they do monitor the web. All these places monitor the web. And traffic is one of the hardest elements of SEO that you can manipulate, though it is possible to do. And I'm testing some stuff now. And if you're interested in that, I'll talk about it in the supplemental course and you can make your decisions. It's a little bit on walking the line, right? This is one where you're like, it could be a little sketchy. It's not totally, but it can be. So the best type of traffic to indicate the worthiness of your site is that people actually search for that content and then they select your website. An example of this is if you were to search for, let's say you open up Google and you search for Octo Suite review. I don't know why I typed that in the other day. It is one that I have, right? You're going to get 10 choices on page 1. And then, of course, since most people don't go past page 1, you're hoping that they'll click on your page. So I do rank on page 1, at least I did last night, which was kind of funny because I think almost everybody's content on there is old except for mine, which is newer. But if somebody clicks on it and then they stay on your page, right? They read the content, they click to do the next button, and they contact you, whatever. Google believes that you match that search term now. Uh-oh. It's Octo Suite review. So like if you type it in here, I'll show you guys. So here, this is Google, right? My keyboard is kind of underneath my microphone. So, and if you type in Octo Suite review, and this of course is also influenced by your searches. So you got your videos that come out, and then you've got a bunch of different ones here, and there is Little Biz Resources, which is one of my sites. Right, I have 2018 there. I actually haven't updated 2019, so I'm thinking about revising that page again. So that if somebody comes through and they're scrolling and they're going, man, I don't know how old some of these, because like mine has the date in it, 2018, but a lot of these sites don't. And so they'll probably go to one, bounce back because it's old, go to the next one, bounce back because it's old. And eventually if they get to mine and they stay on it because it's not an old review, they'll go, oh, Google will go, oh, wow, people want that site. Let's move it up, right? That's how Google looks at it, right? That's one of the largest influences that can take place is the users, I for lack of a better term, voting on it, right? So you think about the whole Wikipedia world and, well, guess what? People now get to vote for stuff. They just don't know they're voting. And that's how they're voting is they're staying on your site. They're showing Google that your content matches that search phrase. Now, any traffic can contribute to this though. So it's not just a search term. It could be traffic to your page through any of the backlinks, right? Any backlink. So if somebody has a backlink from somebody clicks on a link to your page, so that backlink from another blog, that's traffic. And that will tell other search engines, any search engines, oh, hey, they're getting traffic from this place that matches this keyword. So that's what they're good for. You can get it from email marketing. So even though that's not on the web, on the line, sorry, that's from a movie, that if you send an email out and they're clicking through and they're going to your site and they're engaging on your page, Google starts to go, oh, hey, wait, they're getting traffic on this page. So people like the content on it. So I need to pay attention to it, right? You can do this with paid ads. And this is a lot of people like, oh yeah, a lot of people who look at search engine optimization want to do it for free. But the big dogs, they don't do it for free. They pay for ads to help them keep their position, to help them make sure that people are clicking on related terminologies to keep them higher up. All of these indicate that your site has interesting and valuable information when people are clicking through, all right? And they're going to your page, and when they stay on your site and they engage with your content, that's how people know, or that's how the search engines know that people like your content. So I do know that there are marketers out there that have even used paid ads to hyper focus traffic to a site through a specific set of keywords or phrases to increase their organic ranking and influence auto suggest. So when you type something in, this is called auto suggest. So if I go how to, like this one's telling me how to get traffic from Pinterest, which is funny because like none of these are actual. You used to be able to remove searches. So anyway, but it's suggesting that based on my prior searches and everything else. So like I said, Google's really, really, really honing in on collecting data and targeting you with what they think you want. It's so annoying though, because I don't even know what I want. How do they know what I want? And they don't know what I want because they don't give me the information I need. So anyway, so auto suggest, like people used to use ads to influence auto suggest. It's getting harder with that, but I know marketers that do that. And again, if you want to know about some resources on how you can manipulate this, then I will share that in the supplemental course. So now we're going to talk about keywords, and I've kind of said this already. So it's a word or a series of words, so like a phrase that are used by someone searching for information. So example, OctoSuite review, right? So if somebody types in OctoSuite review, they're going to get their organic searches. That's where they haven't paid for it. And they're going to also probably get some ads in there too up at the top. But Google has decided, based on all of the factors on-site, off-site, and the traffic currently, they've decided that those 10 searches are most representative of the term OctoSuite review. And of course, the higher that you are in the rankings, the more Google says, okay, people like this content the most, right? That's how Google looks at that. So that traffic is a powerful, powerful element. So now in order to kind of match this up, right, you got to focus the content with the similar keywords and phrases. You have to make sure your backlinks and sources that are confirming the content of your page are using similar keywords and phrases. And then the traffic searches are people that are using the similar keywords and phrases, right? And that they're selecting your page. So you align all of those, and it doesn't matter what search engine you're on, you're going to start getting matched and shown for that particular content. So again, the search phrase, OctoSuite review, the content, OctoSuite review and bonuses. And I focus specifically on this topic, right? Then backlinks and additional sources. Now, ironically, I have no backlinks to that page, but which is hilarious that I rank on page 1. So direct people back to that page for OctoSuite review, that's kind of weird because there should be a couple of them, but they're not showing up. But the actual link, just for those of you who have done this and are like, oh, that's what I need to do. No, don't do this. The actual link doesn't have to say this, right? So when you're on a site, I don't have anything to pull up, but if you're on a site and you're like, oh yeah, let's click here. And then a lot of times what they'll do is they'll highlight click here and they'll make that the backlink, right? That's what they call the keyword backlinking to it. And a lot of people will think that what they need to do is tell people to put the keyword in, but like 97 or 98% of backlinks say things like here, click here. And then, or like in this case, if it was Little Biz Resources, it would say littlebizresources.com, and then that would be highlighted and that would be the link back, right? It might just say the brand name without the .com. There's a lot of different variation on how a natural backlink occurs. So if you're like, oh, hey, I need to go to all my properties or tell all the people who are linking to me to do this, don't. Just have them link however naturally they are, right? Because these search engines are not just looking at the one word. They're looking at the content from the page it's coming from. So the word no longer matters. It's more the content on the page it's coming from. So now you're going, so what keywords should I use? So the very, very, very first thing you need to determine is the purpose of your marketing, right? So I'm going to go with the example of you're thinking, okay, I want to market to make money, right? Oh, I'm marketing to make money. Okay, so what's your monetization method? So affiliate marketing, that's when you recommend a product to someone and you make a referral fee or commission. Are you capturing emails? Are you providing a product review? What is your strategy to promote the product? And we'll talk more about this in just a second. So like in e-commerce, are you doing a product review? Even if it's your own, are you doing an open box thing, where you have a blog post with a video? Are you creating content for a passionate niche? Linda, you do stuff with pit bulls. Are you, okay, well, I'm going to have my pit bull shirt in there, but I don't really want to talk about the pit bull shirt. I want to talk about, pit bull rescue instead. And so you could just be creating content for that passionate niche and then pseudo promoting e-commerce and so your e-commerce products in some way. And again, if you are creating the content for a passionate niche, then what's the purpose? Can you do email marketing? Sign up to get notified about our future ads or our future products is not really relevant if you're talking about, rescuing pit bulls. So you have to think about how you want to, why do I keep hitting that? Because I talk with my hands. You got to think about how you want to present that information. And then like in lead generation, what's your method for capturing leads? And the reason why this is important is because how you angle your content, and we'll talk more about this in content marketing, but how you angle your content and how you're going to match that along the way is going to make a difference, right? So if you're doing local leads, you're probably going to include local words. And is it for your company or are you selling the leads? So understanding the way or the purpose of your marketing. So there are some organizations that market, like say Coca-Cola as an example. They don't do ads. They do marketing. They build that emotional attachment to their product. They don't need to do advertising anymore. They're going to make those fun commercials that make people feel warm inside. And next time they're at the store, they'll buy some Coke, right? They can really focus on just marketing. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't need to run an ad every now and again and say, hey, get 25 cents off your next purchase at the store. Here's one. But I haven't seen one of those in, I don't even know how long. Usually it's the actual store doing that and not, Coke doing it, because they've got so much brand recognition. So yeah. Well, and so Linda, for example, you may run an ad for buildings, right? Because you locally for buildings, but you may, for marketing, you might do something like, let's see, you could like feature why somebody might want something, depending on your area. Like I know out here, a lot of people like having their own wood shops. And so it's like, hey, put in this your own wood shop. Here's the building that you would want, something like that. And so, yeah, the she shed thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that you can market and give people ideas and not be directly selling to them. And that's the whole idea behind it, is you kind of have to know, but see, here's the thing is you can be more of a salesperson on it, right? You can do more of your product review and say, hey, I'm recommending this product and here's why, and right? So understanding what you're comfortable with, what you want to write, and that will help you start decide which way you need to do your keywords. If the purpose is to share information for a cause, you need to determine what steps you need to support that underlying cause. For example, are you trying to influence a decision? And I couldn't think of anything else besides politics. Then I threw in nonprofits. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe keep music and art in schools, because that comes around every, year. And so like politics is a big one, right? If you're like, oh, hey, join our list and we'll keep you up to date about the most horrifying things the other side is doing, or join our list and you can follow so-and-so and what that person is doing in Congress, or, there's a lot of different ways that you get people engaged in those hot topics, because if they are on your side. And so that is a little bit different than if your purpose is like monetization, because really you're trying to get people to help you spread the word, right? Like think about music and art in schools, join our email list and we'll tell you about our next rally, or join our email list to do this. And so another thing that might happen, like if you're a nonprofit, you may plan to monetize and say, hey, keep up to date with our activities, join our email list, or follow our Facebook page, or whatever it is that however you decide to support other next steps, right? You just don't want to have content. Nobody ever should have content for the sake of content. You should have a purpose. Like if you're just writing content to rant, I worry about you. I mean, I've done that and I do that sometimes. But ultimately the goal is to bring people into my little ecosystem and help teach them stuff, right? That's the whole goal. Now, if there are some out there, in fact, there are some sites that are getting shut down for this, right? Where people will go out there and rant about their views, whether, they're racist or they're extremist views. And that is what I'm talking about. They have no intention other than, well, I guess they are trying to influence people, right? They want to influence people, but they're not going to say, hey, sign up to my email list to get my rants. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I'm just saying I would never promote that as a method. So I would not do that. I would say, look, you need to have next steps, because if you're doing this and you're building content and you really are passionate about something, then you need to have next steps for people, right? They want to support your cause. If they are like, hey, I'm really passionate about music and art because that's what saved me from being on the streets when I was a kid. I want to help them. How can I help them? How can I get involved with them? Oh, hey, I can join their email list and I'll keep up to date with what they're doing. Hey, that's a way, right? Oh, I'll join their Facebook page and share their content when it's posted. That's a way. So that's where you need to you need to determine what those next steps are for your audience if you're not monetizing. All right, so your purpose drives the content and the keywords. So I'm going to use the example of affiliate marketing, and our goal is to provide product reviews. That's what our goal is going to be in this example. And we're going to capture emails for email marketing. I don't even know if I expand on that much more, but that's just what we're going to say. So we're going to create a blog post where we review this particular water bottle, and it's like $6, so I wouldn't recommend it, but it was the first one that popped up. And I'm going to include a link for people to purchase, and that's going to be my affiliate link where I make like half a cent when somebody buys it. I don't know if that's true. I'm just making this up as I go. It is like $5.88 though. And so I'm going to need to know, I need to identify keywords if I'm going to be doing a specific type of review. So maybe I'm going to do the brand review. This one looks like it's Pogo. Again, like I said, this is just one I grabbed off of Amazon real quick. So Pogo review, maybe Pogo water bottle review, something like that. Then you've got best water bottle for the gym, best plastic water bottle. So these are all what we would call buyer keywords. And that's where it relates to, I'm providing a product review. So they want to know what the best is. So I'm going to tell them what the best is. You see how that's aligning? My content aligns with the word because they want to know about this. I'm going to tell them they want to know about this. Oh yeah, it's included the best water bottle for the gym. That's in my review, right? I'm going to talk about this product, talk about how it's the best water bottle for the gym. Does that make sense with how I'm aligning that now with my keyword and my content? Good. Okay. You'd be surprised how many people don't do this. Like they really don't. They'll have like maybe that keyword at the top and then they never talk about it. And you're like, well, I mean, I see you kind of discuss it, but they've never really align it. And when you get to page 4 and 5, you start to see this a lot, by the way. So then you create your marketing content based on keywords. All right. So sometimes you can use a keyword to create content where you include affiliate links. Best way to hydrate. Now we're not really talking about the bottle, right? We're talking about content. We're talking about more of a passion here. So the best way to hydrate is to drink 32 ounces of water every 12 hours. Don't do that because I don't know if it's true, but I'm just saying, if that's what you are writing about, then that could be, and then you just maybe mention the water bottle and link to it. It's extremely, extremely soft selling on that angle. How about the importance of staying hydrated? By the way, these are keywords I looked up. People do search them. So the importance of staying hydrated, maybe you end up ranking for that. So now I want you guys to keep in mind how you can, these types of keywords and stuff, because your assignments are going to be keywords. So just start thinking about that and about, okay, well, how do I want to provide content? How do I want people to find me? And then you're going to create content focused on those keywords. And then you link over to the water bottle as a great option to help with those things. So they may not buy the water bottle. They may not link on it. In fact, these are really, really soft and really, really, you're not saying click here to buy this, right? You could still say that, click here to buy this water bottle, or, hey, if you're looking for the best way to hydrate and you have a whole article about it, at the very end, you go, hey, if you're looking for the best way to hydrate, we recommend this water bottle. It's really awesome. It's a great price. You're going to love it. Get it here on Amazon. And then they click over and get it, right? And then you get your 4 cents. So, or what did I say? Half a cent, whatever. Now, again, this works great for how-to, right? So let's go in. Now we're going to go into a how-to keyword, right? How to avoid dehydration in hot weather. Look how long tail that keyword is, by the way, right? Oops, I did not mean to do that. That's a really long tail keyword. Now you don't have to get that long. That was just a how-to that actually popped up. And now this type of content provides value. It really does provide value. All of these do, right? Best way to hydrate. If you actually provide legitimate, useful information, that's a great, valuable piece of content to your reader, viewer, follower. And then, of course, you do, because these ways are less subtle. They're not directly targeting the person who's looking for this particular water bottle or a water bottle at all. They just may be going, oh, I should just be drinking water to hydrate. Wait, Diet Coke is bad for you. What are you talking about? As I'm looking at my Diet Coke. Which, by the way, I remember again, this is one of those random things, right? I just have to tell you guys this. Coca-Cola ran an article like 15 years ago that said that drinking soda actually hydrated you. And they had a whole like scientific thing on why. Then there was like this caveat at the very end that was like, unless you don't drink water. I started laughing. I was like, so basically it doesn't really hydrate you. It's just kind of delays things. So it's not. Don't go start drinking Diet Coke because I said it hydrates you. I'm pretty sure that article is very skewed. Now, this is another way. So let's say that you target people, best way to hydrate. So this is your article is, oh no, let's do the how to. So you have an article on how to avoid dehydration in hot weather. You're ranking on page 1. People are clicking on it. You could theoretically now retarget them with ads. You hear me say ads, not more marketing. You could now retarget them with ads with this water bottle. I wouldn't because it's so cheap, but that's how you can now build upon that. So now you're building content. You may not have a direct sales pitch here. Let's go back to pit bulls. So you create a piece of content that says, 5 reasons why it's important to rescue pit bulls, or 5 reasons why rescuing pit bulls will improve your life. You provide this article. Maybe you don't even have a link to anything. There's like no ads on it whatsoever. You just link to your other articles. It's just pure value for your audience. You can still retarget people because people who are reading that are probably pit bull lovers. And so instead, now what you do is you say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and instead of spending my ads and trying to find people up front, now I know these people are pit bull lovers. Let me go ahead and retarget them. So let me show only them an ad of my most recent pit bull shirt, right? That is so much cheaper than doing upfront. And we will talk more about retargeting when we get to that point. But I just wanted to show you that, again, when you're creating the content, you're doing this, it's not like it's for nothing, right? We are doing all of this and building this as value. That's what marketing is, providing value. So now you're like, wow, I've got all of these ideas. How exactly do I find keywords? And I know some of you guys know about these tools, but I wanted to kind of put them all together. And I do not use any paid tools now, right? I don't use any paid tools anymore. And the reason why is because a lot of those paid tools were kind of overpriced for what they did. So I would recommend you install the tool keywordseverywhere.com. It's free, completely free. It's a Chrome or Firefox browser extension. And this is how to find keywords. Look at that, volume $1,300 per month. The CPC, I like looking at the CPC just for fun, because let's say that you have no idea. Let's say you do want to write for nothing. Here we go. Here's another one. You just want to ramble and say nothing and just tell people your views, and you're hoping to find followers, but you're still going to do all of these keywords and everything because other people won't find you. People do find you and they look at you and you're like, oh, hey, guess what? I'd like to get a new car one day and I'm just not making enough money at work. You can monetize your blog. And when you monetize your blog, if you are using keywords and you're focusing on keywords that actually have a higher cost per click, you're going to make more money on your ads than if you are targeting words that have a cost per click of 0, which you'll actually see some in here. So that's where if you're like, hey, all I want to do is I just want to ramble about stuff and let people know. This would be great in politics, right? I just want to ramble about my politics. I want to ramble about my formal education. I think I signed a contract that I can't do that, but you could theoretically, build a blog and ramble. Okay, so for keywords everywhere, just go to the keywordseverywhere.com. I'm sorry, guys. I have to look at my fingers because I'm looking through one of these days I'll take a picture of my setup and show it to you guys. But if you come here, there's a bunch of instructions, but it says install for Chrome, install for Firefox, and then just follow their instructions because you need to get an API key, but they've made it very simple. So they'll say, oh, do this, and then you click there and it'll generate it for you. And then it'll tell you, oh, you need to sign in and do this. And so they'll walk you through the entire process. So if you just go, this is why I wouldn't recommend a tool if it wasn't easy, by the way. But this one's super easy and I love it. All right. So we're going to dive into these a little bit more, but we've got ubersuggest.com, which is kind of increasing as one of my favorites as well. Answerthepublic.com. The free version is very limited, but it will give you ideas. I would use this one towards the end. So after you've used the other ones to find like some core keywords and you're like, hey, I need some more creative ones, then go here. Right. And then I added this one afterwards because I remembered about it. And I went, oh yeah, that one's a good one too. And it's called keywordshitter.com. And no, I did not name it. And then of course, if you have any paid tools, there are plenty of these. And since I don't currently use one, I'm not going to recommend one because, well, I'm using these and I'm kind of having way too much fun with them. But if you have a paid tool that you like, like I know Webfire has a built-in keyword thing, but honestly, I liked these better. I stopped using the Webfire for that. But they have one that's built in with Google. If you want to use Google Keyword Planner, that's okay, but it's not great. Just so you know, it's not great. I love keyword research. It's one of my favorite things. I love to see what people search for. And I'm like, why would anybody search for that? And then I'm like, wait, what do they get when they search for that? And they click on it. I am probably an anomaly in Google's algorithm. I'm just saying, because they're like, I don't know anybody who's interested in that many different topics. I'm like, I'm not interested in half these topics. I just want to see what comes up. So yes, I do have way too much fun with these. And I will go down many, many rabbit holes with them. So, and then of course, there are tools that are built into software. And when we talk about like Pinterest and we talk about tools that we're using for Pinterest, like Pinterest itself, you can do keyword research on. So, and I probably should have included that, but I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit holes with you guys. I always want you guys to focus on these and get some top level ones. And then as we get into each specific platform, we'll talk about ways that you can find additional keywords for those particular platforms. And then of course, if we have software, like when we get to YouTube, we'll talk about software that is just phenomenal and it's not very expensive and it is amazing. And I'm going to be doing some testing before we get there though, to make sure it works out, that my strategy works out well. So you guys will love some of the stuff. So anyway, so keywordseverywhere.com. This is a wonderful source to use while you are searching for ideas. So when you're thinking about things, you're just typing it in there and you're kind of just doing your thing, right? Well, if you're typing and doing stuff, you should just use keywords everywhere and make sure it's on there and you always see it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, that keyword's got such and such. Maybe I'll jot it down. Keep an Evernote or keep a Google Sheet doc or something and just type in some words when you're in there. It'll show you search volume for auto suggest for related keywords, and then it also shows volume and provides an expanded recommended keyword list. So again, this is my favorite tool. So we're going to do Pinterest marketing, and you'll see. So the first one you'll see, and I have a couple tools on here. You won't see this unless you put Moz in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Shows you the volume, the CPC, which I said I like. I ignore competition because I don't care. I'm not running ads. And then you see related keywords, which actually comes from Google's recommendations of related keywords. And you can see I'm speeding up because we've already made it an hour. And then people also search for, this is from Keywords Everywhere. So I like having both of these because even though they duplicate, like there might be some up here that are down here, I like having both because they give me a nice, good long list of things to look at. And I look at the volume here and go, oh, I'm not going to go past here. I'm just going to focus on ones that have a search volume, right? Because that we know people are searching for those. So there's more you can do with Keywords Everywhere, but some other tools keep getting shut down because people are abusing them. So that's the only part I know is actively working, and it's still awesome. Now, Ubersuggest. This one is another one I absolutely love. I'm going to pull it over for you guys to see as well. And it tells you things like, well, search volume, SEO difficulty, so how hard it is to rank in organic searches. When they talk SEO difficulty, they're talking Google, right? They're not talking Facebook. They're not talking Pinterest. They're talking Google. Then a paid difficulty, and then, of course, the cost per click, which you can get from Keywords anywhere, or everywhere, whatever I said. And then you can also get keyword ideas, right? This is nice because you can see if they're related keywords that you might be easier to rank for. So let's come in here, and I haven't done it with Pinterest, but Pinterest marketing. We're going to say search. And it is from Neil Patel. He's a big SEO guy. And so it tells me, right, first it tells me 880 searches per month. It tells me it's easy. SEO difficulty is 28, which by the way, I searched for a word the other day and it was 7. And I was like, that's going on my list. Pay difficulty, I'm not worried again, but 31's not horrible. The cost per click they have at $5.29, which I don't think that's what it said on the other tool. So Google's even, so this tool, I don't know where he pulls his information from. I think it's a combination of places, but Keywords Everywhere pulls it from the Google API. So I don't know why the cost per click is higher here, but anyway, that still confirms my suspicions that that would be a good one if you were blogging about random comments, right? And wanted to monetize with ads. So what's nice is this pulls in the data by month. So December, it goes down. Pinterest marketing searches go down. But look, in January, it goes up. So it would be good for me, especially if I'm on Pinterest, to start thinking about getting up here. But then it's pretty much steady the rest of the year. So and then they have some additional keyword ideas. And look, you can see here, they've got the SEO difficulty. And so I'm like, these are all easy. Right? So marketing using Pinterest, like that's not on mine. I should definitely throw that in there. Pinterest in marketing. And then Pinterest marketing. What did I say up here? Pinterest marketing. Yeah, that's what I did. So Pinterest marketing was that one. Marketing on Pinterest. So these are different ways to say the same thing, right? Now, Google may pull the same information from there, but if I can fine tune my search and include these interchangeably, I might show up for both. And the fact that these volumes are all the same also makes me think that Google is combining these Pinterest in marketing, Pinterest marketing, and marketing on Pinterest. But until you start trying to rank for them, you won't know. But I wouldn't necessarily create 3 pieces of content here. I would probably use these 3 interchangeably in a piece of content. And then I have other ones here. So I might go, oh, this one's only got 90, but maybe my content matches that better. And I'm like, ooh, that one's better for my content and it's really easy to rank for, right? So, and then they give you more, there's a lot more stuff in here, but that was the core elements I wanted to kind of show you guys. So that was Uber Suggest. Let's go to Answer the Public. So Answer the Public it's really kind of different. And the guy that's on it is obnoxious, but it's wonderful for developing content that's super long tail. And I know you guys can't see this, and maybe I'll go ahead and blow it up since I'm not on the actual PowerPoint part. But you can kind of see where, you have phrases like, oh, that's funny, it moved over, how Hootsuite works. So I did Hootsuite, by the way. So this was my keyword. And then they check how, and they look for phrases, where, and they look for phrases. And these are all phrases that people should be using. Sorry, I should move over from a turn my head. So which platforms does Hootsuite support? That's a good one, right? I mean, especially if you are promoting Hootsuite. But let's say that, in fact, I actually searched that one quite a bit. And I believe the colors on here, the lighter color means less searches, the darker color means more. Yeah, it is crazy looking. And when you look at it, there's actually more. It's not just this one. This is just the first one that comes up. Okay, I need to... Oops, sorry. Okay. So anyway, so when you get a chance to play with that one, I would recommend it. Okay, I'm just going to delete that for now. And then keywordchitter.com. Now, again, I did not name this. I have nothing to do with it. But it pulls from the auto suggest. And again, I'm not entirely, the auto suggest is being wonky and it looks weird to me now. So I'm thinking they're making some alterations with it. So I'm not sure how it's pulling from auto suggest anymore because it comes up with weird words sometimes. So I typed in Hootsuite and had 200, which I stopped it. So you have to stop it sometimes. But I stopped it like 4 seconds later and it was 225 potential words. And I just did a screenshot here so you can see if you install it with keywords everywhere on. So if you use it and you have keywords everywhere on, it gives you the search volume at the same time. So now I can come in and go, oh, I like, Hootsuite pricing. I like that one. Oh, Hootsuite alternatives, which is actually what I'm going for, right? I have an alternative that I recommend. So Hootsuite alternatives, that's perfect for me. Hootsuite versus Buffer, that's a good one for me. And so I can go through and say, these are ones that I like, and then put them on my list to look at a little bit more, right? So then a few other stats. I knew this was going to be long. I'm trying to speed up, guys, but a few other stats you need to consider for ranking. And this is specifically for Google, but it does help you determine if your site is quality, right? So the better you can get your rankings on these, the better your sites, you're doing well, you're going in the right direction. So a ranking we've mentioned, but we haven't explained is backlinks from authority sites. So what is authority? I'm going to tell you it's a freaking popularity contest. I kid you not. And if you have enough money, you can build authority. So you can literally throw all of your money at press releases and running ads and driving traffic from sites, and all of a sudden you could have like a ton of authority, even though your site is total junk. I've seen it happen. I argue that this is all press sites, but that's just kind of the way it works. And so it's basically a popularity contest. And it used to be based on the number of backlinks going to a site, but this changed slightly. So now number of backlinks is slightly factored in, but you can have 3,000 backlinks from crappy sites and you don't rank. Whereas you could have one from a quality site and you could rank. So again, the number of backlinks isn't as critical as making sure those are quality backlinks. And so an example of a high authority site is Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is a high authority site, and high authority is identified various ways, but one tool you can use it's called the Moz bar, and it is free. And you can see the domain authority for a site. So let's just quick talk about domain authority. It's a search engine ranking score, right? Search engine ranking score, and it's developed by Moz that predicts how well a website will rank on search engine result pages. So now they're specifically talking about search engines like Yahoo, Bing, even YouTube though. And then it says a domain authority score ranges from 1 to 100, with higher scores corresponding to a greater ability to rank. When you look at Wikipedia, you typically see a 98 or a 99. Domain authority is calculated by evaluating multiple factors. So this is where you're like, hey, how do I figure out if my SEO and my SEO is working, or if it's onsite and onsite, all that stuff is going well. They include linking root domains. So they're looking at the authority of the domains and number of total links into a single DA score. And then they use it to compare websites or tracking the ranking strength of a website over time. So you won't immediately go up, though you can go up quickly for sometimes, but a lot of times Moz won't change your domain authority until you've proven for like 6 months that you can maintain that traffic. So you may be ranking on page 1 and have a domain authority of 2, and then all of a sudden you jump up because after 6 or 8 months, you've proven your worth. So again, they want to emphasize here that domain authority is not a metric used by Google, right? So it's not one used by Google. It's used by Moz only to help you determine your chances of ranking. Now, I want to show you guys this real quick, that we did the Octo Suite, right? Octo Suite review. And I was showing up on page 1. My site has a domain, that site has a domain authority of 11. And so you've got 32, 20, 95. That's because it's Facebook. 13, 12, and then me at 11. And then look what's below me. 33, 24, 29. What am I, the lowest on this page? This guy's almost as low as me, and this one is 2. And then so you can see that I don't have a ton of competition anyway, but I have the lowest domain authority and I'm ranking on that page, right? So it doesn't mean anything other than if you have a 100 or close to a 100, you're going to have a much better chance to ranking than somebody who has an 11. It also helps you, and they emphasize this. So we score domain authority on a 100-point logarithmic scale. So basically, it's easier to go from 20 to 30 than it is to go from 70 to 80. That's just, I think that's life, right? It's easier to go to age from 20 to 30 than it is from 70 to 80. I'm just kidding. I don't know if it is. When I get to 70, we'll talk. Or 80, we'll talk. So you look at the domain authority scores for the sites you're directly competing for. So I looked on that page, and the 12 and the 13 indicated that my 11 was definitely competitive with that. So all I had to do was align stuff better, and I got there. I never tried. I've never aligned that. I never got any backlinks, nothing. So my point is that's how you look at domain authority. All domains start with 1. And it's basically a guess, right? It's a guess to see what will rank. They're guessing on what's going to rank better. So knowing the domain authority of a site can help you determine your chances of ranking for a site. So this is for those of you who want to rank on page 1 and get that quote free traffic. If you check your own domain authority, you'll know your chances of ranking. So like I checked mine, I have a domain authority of 11. So now it can also tell you if something is authority. So we use authority sites. If you're like, oh, hey, they're not linking to me, that's okay. You can link to them. You can link to them, and that helps build your authority. That's part of Onsite optimization, is that each page should be linking out to an authority site. I typically use Wikipedia or dictionary.com because those are kind of neutral. But if you are in something like I just Googled here, what is domain authority? And look, domain authority of 91, 80, 69, 98. I mean, this range is significant, right? So there's no guarantees one way or another. But what you can say is that I don't see an 11 there. So more than likely, I would not have a good chance at ranking here because my 11 is saying that my site's not strong enough. I don't have enough quality backlinks to my site. I don't have enough content on my site. I don't have enough traffic on my site. So those are all things that I have to work on in order to get my domain authority higher and then have a better chance of ranking. Now, something that I am doing, and this is something I would recommend you do, is that if you have a list of 40 keywords, you check each page of those words and identify the keywords that are easier to rank, right? So here's an example. So first of all, I want to point out that this is one that's on page 1 for this Pinterest business account versus personal, right? That's the keyword I used. They have a domain authority of 1. They have 0 links, and they're on page 1. And they were not at the bottom. Okay, so now I just pulled these. This is not my complete list. I just started some words to kind of give an idea of how you guys can do this. So obviously I use my keywords everywhere because I can do this all at the same time. So I put in Pinterest marketing, grabbed my search volume, grabbed my CPC, and then I found the 3 lowest domain authorities. And that was 38, 49, and 53. And then the lowest number of links, and that's 1. And you can see some of these are 0. And then like this one has 7. So in this case, I know the search volume. I know the CPC if that's what I would like to do. Like this one, Pinterest marketing course, people are paying a lot of money to run ads for that. But it's only a search volume of 90. So I don't know, but I highlighted this one because this one, look at that one I have an 11. If I create a post that talks about this, I have a good chance of knocking that guy off, or girl. Daniela, probably girl. And then the second one's 28 and 30. Heck, I might even be able to knock one of them off instead. We'll see. But when this guy has 0 links or girl has 0 links and they're ranking for it, that tells me I have a really good chance because mine's 11. Not competitive? No. Well, that's the whole idea of this. You need to be competitive. You need to want to get to page 1, and you want to, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you're on page 1, that means you have quality content. And Google or search engines are recognizing you because you have quality content. So the second you're ranking on page 1 for any keyword, even if it's one that's not searched very often, like Octosuite review, you should pat yourself in the back. You've done something that many people never do, right? And I think every one of us here can do that multiple times. So as you start ranking and getting traffic for this one, guess what? You'll start ranking for other keywords as well, right? Because what you're doing is you're building up something about Pinterest on this. So now your supplemental, your complementary information, you can link between them and start building up traffic to those harder ones now. Oh, hey, now that you're on my site for this, check out my information about my Pinterest marketing course, right? Now you're building your inbound links to your other content. And so, oh, hey, you want to learn about this Pinterest marketing strategy, and they can click over to there now. And now you're building traffic for this keyword, and you may have a lower domain authority, but now this is less scary at 38 if your domain authority is 11 or 12 or even 1. Start with the 1, start building from there. So creating backlinks, so we've discussed what backlinks are and, quality backlinks, et cetera. So let's look at how you get them. So let's just recap our options real quick. And this is going to be our overview, and then we'll be done. So backlinks we control are social media properties, blog sites, which are Web 2.0 properties. This is like WordPress.com, Blogger.com, bookmarking sites, and our other control business sites like Google My Business. Backlinks we sort of control, press releases and Wikipedia. Backlinks we don't control, high authority sites like Forbes and blog sites we don't own. We can't do anything about the ones we don't control. So we're just going to have to move on, and let's talk about the ones we can control and sort of control. So links we control are social media platforms. And I listed some here: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. And there are some others that fall under that. When you share updates and link back to your pages, this creates backlinks. Now I'm going to tell you, for some reason, you saw that I said there's 0 backlinks back to my OctoSuite review. That's been posted on social media. So I should have some. But for some reason, what ends up happening is those don't count until nobody knows when. So you just have to keep, that's why you have to keep posting and keep creating content and creating those links back, because for some reason they don't all count. They aren't all recognized, even though they're there and they're legitimate. So you just have to keep doing it. So you might have 10 and only 2 of them are counting back to your site. There's not much we can do about that. And I'm not really sure how you influence that other than creating more links to those backlinks. And then you're now building link farms and you turn it into a nightmare. So you might as well just do the quality thing and wait for it to kick in. Now, bookmarking sites, and I'm going to tell you guys, I took the picture, but I didn't put it in here. Digo, right? We've talked about Digo in the past before, but for anybody who's listening that's new, Digo is a bookmarking site that I was looking at, one that was like a domain authority of like 70 something. And one of its top linking sites back was Digo. So I know everybody goes, oh, Web 2.0 properties and all of these bookmarking sites, they aren't value. DIIGO. Let me show you. Oops, I don't know what I clicked on. There we go. So this is Digo, and you can see right here as a domain authority of 89. 89, and you get to control the links you put on here. You put links on here yourself. So this is what I'm talking about. You can control backlinks. And a lot of people don't do this, right? So these bookmarking sites literally are just a link back to your property. It's back to your page, back to your homepage, whatever it is that you're linking to. I would create links for every single piece of content you have, especially with Digo being such a high value. And I'll tell you what, that domain authority has jumped because it used to not be that high. So Digo is definitely one I would not ignore anymore if you have been. And then of course there are other business sites, and there's lots of them with different purposes. I'm going to say public notes, and I'm going to say like Google Docs, Google Sheets. You have to use some sort of automation to do this, and we'll talk about automation next time. But I just want to kind of give you guys the basics here. So you want to use that to kind of link back to your, even though it's like a public, it's almost like you're building your own bookmarking spot, but you're using other platforms with that are high domain authority. And then of course there are about sites like Gravatar, about.me, and there are others. Crunchbase, I think, is another one. These are places where you can link your pages and your properties, and then it may not drive traffic, but it creates that link value. And then there are links we sort of control. Now I put Wikipedia in here, but I'm going to tell you that the thing with Wikipedia is that you need software or you need patience, one of the two. And I use software and I still have to have patience. And it's hard, but it's hard to get a link straight on Wikipedia, but there are ways to do it. So we will talk about that some other time when we are that far. I just wanted you guys to be aware that that does exist, and there are ways that you can get your link on Wikipedia. Press releases. Press releases are actually one that you have more control over. It just costs a lot of money. And I want to say, have you noticed? I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and this is where I kind of get annoyed because I don't think that these should count. They should just be their own category, right? Because every single news site out there is some sort of biased in some way. There is no neutral website or neutral news site ever. So I'm like, I pulled it. Associated Press, domain authority, 92. CBS News, domain authority, 94. Fox News, domain authority, 94. I'm like, seriously? I mean, knock them all down into the 60s, and then we'll talk about that at least being somewhat fair. But when you submit press releases, as long as it's through the right entities, because if you go to the free ones, these typically don't get posted on these high domain authority sites. But when you're paying for a press release, like to go to Google News as an example, then you are basically getting a publicly viewed page out there that has a link back to your page with those high domain authority, right? Now, sometimes you can't they won't share it, and I don't know why, but typically if you're submitting it to 400 press sites If you get 100 of them out there, that's 100 high quality backlinks back to your site. So this means, and this is how domain authority works and why you want high quality ones, is that when CBS posts the press release, now their domain authority of 94 is basically a 94 quality vote for my site and sending what they call link juice. I know you like that word, Linda. Link juice back to my domain. And so now it's giving a big thumbs up and saying, hey, Little Biz Resources is pretty awesome, but I paid for it. I mean, I don't know how that's not just, I mentioned this earlier, right? It's a popularity contest. Link juice, yeah. So it is literally a popularity contest. And the more you pay for your popularity, the better the chances. So press releases are ones that we can use. And this is extremely common in local businesses, because what happens is the majority of local companies don't run press releases. And see how valuable these can be? So when each of these are casting a vote back after a couple months, because remember I told you it takes a couple months for your domain authority to shift, then, and it can be faster, but because if you're now getting traffic from all that, that's a completely different story. But you also want to make sure that you have keywords in there. So now CBS is linking back to my site or with the press release that says, hey, OctoSuite review is awesome or whatever. It probably doesn't say awesome because that's not neutral. Isn't that funny? They make us be neutral, but they don't have to be. Anyway, they're giving me a thumbs up for that domain authority of 94, and it talks about OctoSuite review. And so now all of those search engines know that, yes, my site really is about OctoSuite review. Oh, and by the way, all of these sites are giving you a thumbs up about it. So my domain authority increases overall because of their domain authority. And then my page is more likely going to rank because of that. So this is something that we would use for higher competitive niches a lot. And that's because like nobody does it, right? Nobody but the big dogs are sending press releases. So if you get a chance to do this for relatively inexpensive, then it's nice. But unfortunately, I've done research and there is no real free option where this works very well. And we'll talk more another time about press releases, but I want to show you guys that is one you can control. And it is very valuable. This has been tested multiple times by many people, and it is an exceptionally fast way to build domain authority. All right, so let's build our foundation now. Okay, Chrissy, if you could disconnect it, I'm sorry. So we're going to build our foundation now. Now we understand that keywords and the value of links helps us plan our marketing efforts, right? We now know we need to align everything. We need to understand what our purpose of our content is. And then we can start to kind of find those keywords to help us build content, build supplemental content. Remember, we're going to be linking in between our supplemental content. And then we use keywords to help us understand what our audience is looking for. So even though we may not build content around that, we may say, hey, people are looking for this. Let me build some content that's related to it, right? And then eventually I might build content that's specifically to that keyword. And so an example of that would be the answer the public. You may not have an article specifically for that, but you might put it on your back burner for one that you go, oh, they're talking about how to use Hootsuite. And oh, I'm going to talk about that eventually. Put it on my list. So, because we know people are looking for that. Now I'm going to use the example of using the Pinterest keywords, right? So I'm going to focus on ranking Pinterest business account versus personal and Pinterest marketing course, because those two were the two lowest and easiest ones that I'd probably be able to rank for. I'm going to have other content with other keywords so that I can have on-site linking, right? So, I didn't mention this earlier and I have in the past, but on-site linking is when you are linking to another article on your page. When you do that, they talk about this and they say the magic number is 3. So if you have 3 pages linking to an individual page, so let's say that I have, let me pull up my keywords real quick, if I still have them up. Yeah, let's look at these keywords real quick. So I have these keywords here that are, this is the one I'm going to do, Pinterest business account versus personal. Let's say that I do Pinterest marketing tips and Pinterest traffic strategy. Let's just say I do those two. And I'm going to make those as supplemental content, right? I'm going to do 3 more, right? So I'm going to do that one. So let's make them yellow so you guys can see. Yellow, yellow, and maybe I'll do this one as yellow. So I'm going to do those 3, and each one of those articles is going to link back to this Pinterest business account versus personal. Check out, if you're interested in why you need a business account, check out this post. Links over to it. So now you've got 3 links linking back to this one. That one act, which you again control, you control that, is just as powerful as 1 or even more high authority backlinks to your site. Think about that. Your domain authority of 1, if you have that, is now just as powerful linking from 3 other pages to 1 as it is getting 1 high authority link back. And of course, we're building more than 1 high authority link back when we're building our social media assets and our bookmarking sites, especially Digo. So we want to make sure that we're doing that and we're building this content. This is not going to happen overnight. There is no push button solution for building content like this. You have to plan it out. Even if you want to pay somebody to write the articles, you still have to have a plan on what you want written. So again, all of the content is going to help me determine marketing methods on other platforms as well. So we're building our foundation. We have our keywords, we have our content, and then we're going to focus on using those keywords and content to build our strategy on other platforms, which we talk about on those platforms. So now you have your to-do list. If you haven't already, sorry guys, I gotta take a drink. Before I start choking everywhere. Okay. So if you haven't already identified your niche and your purpose, so example, if you're like, hey, I want to make money, or Linda, you decide you don't really care about making money, you just want to get Pitbull information out there, think about what your purpose is. I still say you could still make money off that. I'm just using it as an example because that is a purpose type one. So identify your niche, identify your purpose, and then identify if you want to make money, your monetization method. If you're like, hey, I have no idea how I want to monetize, think about ads. Think about ads, and remember, keep that on there. Like I would create an Excel sheet or Google Sheets or whatever doc just like this, right? Put your keyword, your search volume, your CPC, find your lowest domain authority, second lowest, third lowest, and the lowest number of links on there. So you know what to aim for. And then you know which keywords to focus on. And then start that list, go longer than what I have. You're going to want a lot longer. And then content ideas. Use all the tools we talked about. If you like one better than the other, use them. Yeah, definitely, Linda. So Linda had the idea, could you write articles about I can't say that word, folks. I can only say it if I'm mocking a cartoon. What's that one other cartoon? But anyway, people that buy buildings with pictures, etc. Yes, I would. In fact, if that can give other people ideas, that's a great way to do that, right? So besides a she shed, let's say that somebody turns it into something really creative. Where would you put the articles? On your blog, on your main site. So whatever your main site is where you sell. So let's say you have Linda's warehouse or whatever, right? So yeah, right. You have your website. So I would add a blog to it. And then if you don't have blog capabilities on there, you may have to go to a different site. But if you can, get it on your site, because then you can link back over to your other, oh, hey, check out this shed here. Oh, this person bought this shed, right? That's a link over to your other shed, right? Oh, and this person both got together and decided that they were going to do this. And then they each got this shed or this shed, right? So now you're linking back to your info about those particular sheds. All right. So, and again, use the tools to help you. So when you do that, go through, when you come up with ideas like that, run through the tools and see if you can't find specific keywords to focus on. So just because I said Pinterest marketing, you may not want to just use the word Pinterest marketing. That's what they call an exact match keyword. Exact match keywords are rarely what you find on page 1. Oh, hitchhike on the State Farm ad about she sheds. Yeah, there you go. I don't ever see ads, but that's funny. The she shed thing is like big, really big. So I'd have one if it was in my house. I think they call that a room though, not a she shed. Anyway, so then also identify your current digital assets. That's part of your homework, right? So you're going to have your keyword list and you're start to come up with content ideas. And then you're going to identify your current digital assets, because I know many of you probably have started them and forgot about them. So start going through and finding what social media sites you already have, any bookmarking sites that you might have, blog properties, etc. And then next week, we'll focus more on creating backlinks, or not next week, next time. That's in 2 weeks, because next week is e-commerce again. All right. So we really don't have time for too many questions because we're already running over, but Linda has one, explain a bookmarking site. So let me show you Digo real quick, because that is, well, Pinterest is technically a bookmarking site. They just did it the smart way and added the pictures in there and then made it so people could comment. And so they made it more of a social bookmarking site, but Pinterest really is a bookmarking site, right? You can save content for later and go back. That's the whole idea of it. When you bookmark something on your, like if I come up here and I bookmark this, it's saving it in my folders. It's just a private folder, right? And there are plenty of these where you can do it privately. This is a public bookmarking one. You're finding she shed pics on Digo? Oh, on Pinterest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. So you would come in. Let me see if I can get signed in real quick so I can show you more. I guess I'll sign in with the one that's coming up here. All right. So this is my one for EP Laser that I have. And it's funny because every time that I post on Etsy, I have it so it automatically posts over here. It shares a link. So this links back to, this is literally a link back, right? To this site, to this page. I should probably go in there and change it. I'm lucky that they're showing my items as similar items. But yeah, so it's linking back to the exact post. And of course, I'm also logged in, so that's not helpful either. But like this one, they've been reposting, or I've been updating and posting them. So like this one's the Celtic one. It's linking straight back to that, right? These are all Etsy ones that are here that it's doing it with. I don't really create more content on the other one, so this is the one I'm focused on. But look, it has the referral as the RSS feed. So I have an RSS feed, which is really simple syndication. So I'm pulling my Etsy RSS feed, and I have it so that it's automatically populating in here. I think I'm running it through IFTTT though. I know that's super complicated for you guys, but we'll talk more about some easier automation next time. But it's, Linda, it's just saving it. It's just saving a site. If you were to make a list, if you were to come in here and say, okay, I'm going to make a list on my notepad of all my sites, right? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go, I'm going to copy and paste it, right? So I'm going to go Little Biz Resources. Oops, I went to the wrong site. And I said, hey, I want to save my main page here. Okay, now I want to come in and see my category page, or my main site page. Okay, I want to do this blog post here. And I see how I'm just saving all of those. I'm just kind of posting them. And if I were to save this, this would be just like a list of my links, right? Okay, so now nobody can see that though, because it's on my private computer. Now, if I come in here, I can do the same thing. I can come in here and I'm going to say, I'm going to do a bookmark, and I'm going to put in, well, I'm just going to type it. I'm going to put in littlebizresources.com. I'm going to say, this is manually doing it, by the way. I'm going to say next. And I can come in and I can add in a description, i.e. keyword in there. I can add keywords in the tags. So let's say that I wanted to do something about great digital marketing resources and tools. Of course, again, you'd want to do your keyword research. So if I were doing Pinterest marketing, I would sneak in Pinterest marketing in here, right? A couple times. And you can do as much of a description as you want. Then in the tags, I would put in digital marketing tools. Maybe I'll do social media automation. I don't know, something like that. And then they have some other stuff here, but I'm going to ignore it. Now you can make it private so nobody else can see it. But if I don't click that private, anybody can view it, right? That makes it a publicly viewable link. So now I'm going to add it to the site. Now it's linking. Look, if I click here, right? That's what a link is they can click back to your site. So I click on it, it goes back to littlebizresources.com. That's basically exactly what you're doing. You're bookmarking your website and your pages any of your properties can go into Digo. Digo, like I mentioned before, was listed on, I was looking up somebody who was a high authority site, and I wanted to see I was using Ubersuggest, by the way. And I came in here and I typed in a keyword, and then, or maybe I typed in a domain. Anyway, I found that their top ranking, one of their top ranking sites that was linking to them was Digo. That's how powerful Digo is. That's how powerful bookmarking sites are. Like, nobody uses them anymore except for us SEO people, right? We're the only ones that are using it now, and we're the ones that are ranking our sites. So that kind of tells you that bookmarking sites are still powerful. But this is just a place to list your stuff, list your links. Yeah, you could link Facebook pages. You can link anything that has a URL can go in here, right? If you're doing a bookmark. You could do an image. You can drag and drop an image. I don't think you can actually link the image back, though. Let me try to find an image real quick and make sure it's appropriate. Not appropriate. Appropriate, but I don't know what I'm at. 948, this one. Okay. So let's say I wanted to do that one, right? And then I can put some tags in there, but it's not looking like I can add any links. So I wouldn't necessarily do an image unless you wanted to save that for later, like literally. No, I don't want to add a handout. But yeah, you could do, like, let's say I wanted to do the Facebook group. HTTP. Oops, don't do too many. Let's just pull it up. It's faster. Right. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy the link to the group, and I would just add it in as a bookmark. And the title here is because it's not pulling any metadata, but I would say lead generation course. Oh, I'm going to say network. Right? Network. Come on. Generating leads and making sales and making sales. So I'll just leave it like that. So, okay, good. And then again, my tags, since my tags in this case, I'm going to be digital marketing group, digital marketing tips. Now I would come up with, of course, this is why we're making our checklist, right? This is why we're making our keyword list so that we can do all of this quickly. And even if we're using automation, we'll be needing that list. So I'm going to add that one, and now it's there, and now that's a link back to there. So, and actually bookmarking sites are an excellent way to create. Remember I told you those link farms that I was joking about? This is a great way. So like, for example, if I'm linking to, if I have a web 2.0 property on, which is one that's on like WordPress.com, so it's free. So I could have WordPress.com also post links into here. And then I'm also posting them to my page. But now this is posting to WordPress.com, which is then linking over to this is linking. So we'll talk more about it next week. It'll make more sense next week. For right now, just focus on your to-do list. Where did our to-do list go? Right here. Because we'll start doing the actual backlinking stuff next time. So 2 weeks from now. And just so you guys know, I'm not going to have the supplemental content out for this until after this weekend. I had to, again, you guys heard me talk about my microphone change. Yeah, it was more like a microphone emergency. This particular video will be on YouTube later this afternoon, evening, after dinner, because it's going to take like an hour to process or two. And I will send out an email and let everybody know. No, the particular supplemental course for this particular week will not be available until probably Monday. Oh, I'll post it into the Facebook group though, Linda. I'll share it from YouTube into the group too. Yeah, and then I'll send an email out. I didn't get to send an email out about the e-commerce one last week yet because I'm still finishing the last couple of videos on that. Because when your microphone breaks, it makes it hard to record videos. Yes, Linda, you would be surprised at how many people call themselves SEO people and don't do anything right. And they're like, oh yeah, I do SEO. And I'm like, really? What do you do for SEO? And they're like, well, I run ads. And I'm like, that's not SEO. I mean, it can be, but that's not SEO. So people use that term loosely. So sure, you can be an SEO person. However, you guys really are going to be SEO people because you're going to build your content valuable. They drink backlink juice. Yes. Instead of sending it to their site, they're drinking it. Yeah. So yeah, no, I really do think that I think it's the reason why it's not as easy for some people to get and it's easier for others. Like some people, they say they don't get it and they do because they just don't have the confidence. But then there are some people who don't get it. And I think that's because they're spending too much time on social media platforms. Well, and that's another thing is SEO tends to be, and I'm going to say I don't know what the numbers are. Yeah, Marjorie, the methods have really changed. Like I said, keyword stuff in like it's 1999 doesn't happen anymore. It's fun to talk about because it always makes me think of that movie or that music thing, the song. I like the music thing. It's a song. I've been talking too long. Anyway, so if you guys have more questions, though, feel free to post them in the Facebook group, or you can even send me messages through the contact form, or you can email me if you have the email, the kim@leadgenerationsource.com. I do check it. It's, yeah, I do need to hydrate. My throat is killing me. So thanks, guys, for sticking it out. I think if you do your homework over the next 2 weeks, I think you guys are going to really like making some progress with this. But that key, one of the key things that I talk about, and I talked about this in e-commerce as well, is that you have to know how you're monetizing, if that's what you're doing, or what the purpose is. Because if you're writing content for the sake of content, you can't align. You can't match your market. You can't match the people looking for you. You can't match what they're searching for if you don't have any purpose. If you're just writing to write, and then you're never found. And then it's like you might as well just literally grab a pen and start writing on the wall because nobody's going to see it. Except for maybe the next buyers of the house, I guess. Whatever. And speaking of that, I found a smiley face on my wall the other day. And I went, that's creepy. If you guys ever watched the Mentalist, I think is what it was. Yeah, I know, squirrel. But it's kind of scary. So Mentalist, there's a serial killer on there. His name's Red John. And he puts smiley faces on walls. So one night I'm walking out out of the bathroom and the light didn't work. And so I was using my phone light. It's because I couldn't pull a button to pull the thing. And I was like, and there was like this little tiny face on there. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to die? Or did my daughter do that? And so it took like 3 months, right? And I finally asked her the other day, I'm like, do you know anything about this? She goes, yeah, I wrote that. She doesn't know what a serial killer is. So that works out well. Yeah, no kidding. Good. So, well, anyway, thanks again for sticking it out. And I hope you guys picked up a few tips and that it'll start to make sense, right? As you start doing it. A lot of that, you need to start doing it. And then as you do it and you go, oh, yeah, or start looking at other content and look at your page one content, especially for your competition. And you start seeing the ones that are ranking higher. Look at what they're writing. Look at how they're writing. And you'll start to see, especially in that particular niche, what is working best for ranking. So, and again, our goal isn't necessarily to rank on page one. It's just one of those benefits that we're going to do. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't do a whole lot with Facebook ads right now because I'm focusing more on YouTube and Pinterest at the moment because I already know how to do Facebook and they're making me mad. So anyway, I've got people waiting for me, so I better get going. But hey, thanks again, you guys. I will see you guys in the group and hopefully next week doesn't have updated Facebook. Wait, what does that mean, Linda? Oh, no, I do have some videos I have to go back in and add to the Facebook one. And I think it's mostly going to be case study related. I think it's all in there. I just need to go through and double check it all. That course, I believe, is available if you want to go in there and go through stuff. I haven't done any ads though. I'm not going to be teaching ads. It changes literally weekly. So if we want to do ads, we'll have to wait until after the expensive season, which is now. But I think you guys will like some of the other stuff that we talk about that is faster and easier. So anyway, I will, if you guys are on for the e-commerce one next week, I'll see you then. If not, I'll see. If you guys have any questions, and I think we lost Chrissy.
No,
right?
I'm here.
Oh, did you have any last minute comments since you said nothing? Absolutely. Sorry.
No, I was trying to be good, not distract everyone.
Right. I did warn her that I had a lot to get out. So
Plus, we got a major storm. We got Texas size rain right now.
oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's really weird.
All right, I gotta go make dinner. So you guys all have a very good weekend, and we will see/talk to you all in the group or next week.
Bye.
Bye.
That would be Cassandra saying bye. Thanks, everybody. Bye.